Hello, everybody. We are live. If you can hear me, say hello. I'm so excited. If you guys don't know, if you're new to the group, we have lots of newbies. I am Megan, and today we are talking all things pelvic floor. So, mamas, come say hi. Let me know how you guys are doing today. Did you get a workout in? Maybe you're taking a little break today. Let me know how you guys are all doing. Let me know if you are still working on your diastasis recti, how that's going. I want to know all the things, okay? So first off, I just want to say I'm so excited because we are at over 700 members in the group. Hello, everybody. Hello, Megan. And, so I'm very excited about that, and I love that. I love how kind and loving and generous all you moms are. It's so amazing to see in this group because I know mom groups can get a little crazy. So I'm super excited about that. So yay, we're at 700 members. But today we are diving into all things pelvic floor. This is a really common thing post-baby, but it's actually not talked about a lot because let's be honest, we're going to be talking about vaginas and your pelvic floor and how we're repairing that and peeing your pants and, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot that goes into this and there's a lot that's not talked about. So I want to make sure that I give you guys all the information you need to heal your pelvic floor, and then what to do when you've done all these things and you're still having issues, because it can happen, okay? Hello, Dawn. I'm so excited you're here. Hello, Chelsea. So let's dive into it. Pelvic floor is one of the most common complications that you'll have outside of pregnancy. So when I talked about diastasis recti, that affects about 60 to 70% of us. And then pelvic floor issues, incontinence, or even having an overactive pelvic floor can affect 30% of us and 20% new first-time moms. So it's really, really important that we all pay attention to our pelvic floor. And to be honest, you guys, I actually had pelvic floor issues before I was even pregnant. Surprise. So it's something that you need to work on regardless if you've had a baby or not. This can affect men as well. So we are not alone here, and we're going to talk about it. If you guys have any questions or you're just joining, comment below hi. If you're watching the replay, comment below so I know who's watching the replay. I always come back and answer your questions. And if you guys have questions as I'm doing this, make sure you drop them below. I'll try to do a Q&A at the end really quick. And I'm going to make this as quick as I can for you moms because I know we're all busy and we got kids running around. And I know a lot of you guys are watching the replay. So first off, the biggest myth is that you're just, after you have a baby, that you're forever going to pee when you sneeze. You're forever going to pee when you jump rope. You're going to, whenever you jump, that's just what's going to happen. And this is not true. This is not true. And it is something you can fix. It is fixable, and you shouldn't be going through this. And you are not alone, mom. So who in here right now knows that they're dealing with some pelvic floor issues? Maybe you're, like I just said, leaking when you're sneezing or jumping. A lot of us probably aren't jumping yet because we're still really new postpartum, but sneezing, laughing, coughing, you'll notice some leakage there. So let me know who's struggling with that. You guys, we're not alone here, okay? Now, pelvic floor work, if you are a C-section mom, I know, logically, you're like, well, I didn't vaginally give birth, so, my pelvic floor is fine, but that's not the case. Your pelvic floor is going to be, is going to have a lot of pressure and a lot of, separation damage just from holding baby for, 39, 40 weeks. So C-section mamas, do not neglect your pelvic floor either. Like I said, you can have pelvic floor issues before you were pregnant. So C-section mamas, yes, you need to work on your pelvic floor. We all do. Tell your friends, even if they're not pregnant, they should be working on your pelvic floor too. And I'm reading my notes just below, so if you guys are like, what is she looking at? Just want to make sure we get it all in. So what is your pelvic floor? So the pelvic floor is the sling of muscles. So it's like a little hammock. I probably should have brought you guys a visual, but it's like a little hammock. Hi, Brianna. I love that you're from Phoenix and baby's name is Phoenix. So it's like a hammock, the pelvic floor muscles, and it runs between the pubic bone in the front and then the tailbone in the back. So this is what is holding and supporting our womb, our bladder, our bowels. It is so important, right? It's holding all of these organs up. So it's really important that we exercise this muscle. Now, how do we do that? So the pelvic floor is going to help control your bladder, your bowel movements, assist in your sexual function. Like, it has a lot of things. Honestly, it's one of the best muscles that you should be working out. And I wish I knew this way long ago, because I had pelvic floor issues before I even got pregnant. So it is possible. So what pelvic floor issues can arise? And now listen to these and see if this sounds like you. So first off is going to be, like I said, the urinary incontinence, the pelvic organ prolapse. That is the most significant. Those two are the most significant and negative outcomes that we have post-childbirth. So the POP, which is the pelvic organ prolapse, very, very common, is when the tissue and muscles of the pelvic floor no longer are supporting those organs, okay? So if it's not supporting those organs, what's happening to them? They're dropping, they're releasing, they're not being held in the correct place. So that means the vagina, the cervix, the uterus, the bladder, the urethra, the rectum, all of that, okay? And of course, the bladder is going to be the most common. So that's going to be why we get a lot of the leaking. So if you've seen a specialist, and let me know, have you guys seen a specialist yet? For those of you who know, like, I'm having some pelvic floor stuff, are you seeing a specialist? I have specialist recommendations here in Oregon, and I'll talk to you guys at the end. But I also want to make sure that any women that are dealing with this, who need to take it beyond exercises, need to talk to a specialist, that we're sharing who we're working with in your state or in your city, because there's other women in the same state. So make sure, if you are working with a specialist, comment below who it is and where they are, because there's going to be other women who need help as well, okay? Now, we just talked about the pelvic floor being basically weak, right? So it's not holding our organs up properly. The other situation you could have with your pelvic floor is an overactive pelvic floor. So this is when you're actually tightening it too much and you're never allowing it to relax. This is also common post-childbirth, because a lot of the time, we just had a lot happen. Some of us had a lot of tearing. I had a ton of tearing. And what's happening is, after birth, we're actually contracting a lot. And because either in fear that something's going to happen, or we're in pain. So we're contracting a lot, and we're just holding, and we're never relaxing that pelvic floor. So this is going to be the overactive pelvic floor some of us might have. Now, an indicator of this is painful sex, or even pain inserting a tampon. This might be an indicator that you're actually overactive pelvic floor. So that's something I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's just, underactive, I'm not tightening it up. No, it can go the opposite way. You can actually work it too much. And that's why I will get into Kegels in a minute and tell you the ins and outs of all the Kegel stuff, okay? So let me know if anyone thinks they have an overactive pelvic floor down in the comments below. So just comment overactive pelvic floor, or overactive, to keep it short. Okay, so now diving into the Kegels. Now, Kegels are not one size fits all. And I know a lot of us will be told, especially when we go to get this looked at first, which typically what's going to happen, you guys, is we go for our 6-week checkup, and we think everything's fine. We haven't really started working out. We haven't really started doing a ton of movement. And then what happens is, after that 6 weeks, well, we got checked, they said everything was fine, but then we go and we work out, or we start doing movements or whatever, and then we start to know, oh, I actually am peeing myself doing this movement, or I'm coughing more, or etc. So what happens is, we just got checked, but now we're having issues but now we gotta go back. You gotta go back, right, to get it checked. So that is really, really, really common. And then a lot of the time when you go back, the first thing they're gonna say to you is, Kegels, do your Kegels, do your Kegels. And you're like, okay, well, that's it? Like, I just do Kegels? There's a lot more to it, right? So when I'm thinking of any ab repair and pelvic floor repair, it is all in one unit, okay? So when I'm focusing with my clients who need to work on pelvic floor work, I'm not just solely focused on pelvic floor work. We're working on the core and the pelvis as a unit, okay? So that's very important that we're not just thinking, I'm just gonna do my Kegels, okay? It's not a magic fix, but it is a great start. So let me know in the comments below who knows how to do their Kegels and who needs a little help. So comment below Kegels if you are like the Kegel pro, you've been practicing it, and comment below if you haven't, just say I need help and we will help you, okay? So first you gotta find the right muscles to do your Kegels. There's a couple different ways to do this. You can do it in more of an intimate way as well. So you can test your Kegels yourself by inserting your 2 fingers, contracting, and feeling around to see which part of your wall is not activating. That's something too when you start repairing and you're getting a little bit deeper. I will do a more thorough live for you guys to really dive in a little bit deeper for those of you who are having trouble figuring out where your Kegels are, how to activate them, etc. Now, there can be, when you get more intimate and when you work with a physical therapist, they're gonna feel around your whole entire wall because it's like a circle, right? And there's gonna be areas there that might be weaker, and then there's gonna be, the other side of the wall might be a little bit stronger. So then it gets a little bit trickier. But if you need to test Kegels yourself, the best way to do this, to start activating, is when you're going to the bathroom, when you're urinating, I want you to stop midstream. If you can stop midstream, you can stop your stream, that is your Kegel muscle, okay? Now, if you're having a hard time doing that or activating that, we need to take it to the next step and start getting those Kegels to activate even more, okay? So if you're with me right now, we're gonna do some Kegel work. The best thing to do is we're gonna start with a little breath work. It's really easy. You can do Kegels lying down, you can do them sitting, you can do them standing. You should be doing them as well when you're working out. That is why I'm a huge proponent of Pilates, bar workouts, slow, low impact movements that are really focusing on your pelvis and contracting your Kegels and breath work, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do is we're gonna breathe in really deep through our nose. We're gonna let the abdomen rise as it fills with air. And we're going to keep the pelvic floor muscles relaxed when we're breathing in. And then we're going to breathe out slowly and smoothly through the mouth as we gently contract our pelvic floor muscles, okay? So let's just do this together, and we'll do it a couple times together so you guys get the gist, get the rhythm, you get a little bit of practice. So if you're with me right now, it doesn't matter where you are, if you're seated, if you're standing. If you're really new, try lying down to start. But we're gonna take a deep breath in, and then out, we're gonna contract our Kegels. So blow out, contract, contract, contract for 3 to 6 seconds. And then you're gonna relax completely. You're gonna rest for 6 to 10 seconds, and then you're gonna do it again. Now, you wanna make sure, number one, you relax all the way. Like I said, overactive pelvic floor, that's how you can get it. And then you want to, if you feel like you relaxed all the way, or maybe you didn't feel it relaxed, it means you need to practice some more holding, because when we first start out, you might not be able to hold them that long. When I first started doing my Kegel work, I was like, ew, I can't hold it that long. And it took me a while to find the Kegel inside as well. So take time to practice this breath work. So let's do it one more time. We're gonna take a deep breath in through the nose, relaxing the Kegels, and then out. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Contract and then relax completely. Okay? So with those, you're going to want to do those about 10 times per session. You will, when you start doing these, you don't have to like schedule it in your schedule, ladies. Just when you think about it, or when you're breastfeeding, is a really good one. When you're breastfeeding, that's like a really good time to be like, oh, okay, I'll do my Kegels, right? Like most of us breastfeeding, I know we're scrolling on our phones, but take a second to do your Kegels, which you're also doing breath work, which is really good for your mental health. So practice the Kegels. Now, if you guys have questions about it, or you are struggling with finding it, just let me know. Like I said, I have more in-depth Kegel work and Kegel finding that we can work on as well. And I want to make sure we all are, we're all finding our Kegels and we're working on it. So the biggest question I get is, how long do I have to do Kegels for before I notice anything? And honestly, if you're doing them right, and if you can, pick up on your Kegels right away, you can feel that movement, you can get some good headway. You can make some good headway into strengthening that pelvic floor within a few weeks. Some of us, it might take longer. And some of us, I'm going to be honest with you, some of us are still going to struggle with no matter how much Kegel work we use. I mean, I have worked with clients who are the most disciplined clients ever, who are, they're doing their Kegel work every single day. And I'm not kidding. We're doing their Kegel work for years, and they still were having problems either working out, with me if I was training them, or just in their everyday life. And that's when we need to take it to the next level and have a conversation. I want to make sure all you moms are confident and know where to go after you've worked on your pelvic floor. So on top of the Kegel work, I also want you guys to work on pelvis work. So a lot of that is going to be bridges, which if you have not watched the diastasis recti training, watch that. I do bridges in there. I do bridges in almost every single workout I do. Every single one. I just, that's my warm up because of how important it is. And I found this out because I used to, back in the day, I CrossFitted and I competed and I was extremely strong, like a little too strong. I was extremely strong, and I was competing. But I kid you not, my pelvic floor was so weak. It was so weak. When I would do jump, I literally could not jump rope without peeing myself. And this was before baby. But it was because I didn't know how to activate my pelvic floor. I didn't know the importance of squeezing it. I didn't know the importance that every single workout I do, I am thinking pelvis, tilt my pelvis. Pelvis tilts is one of the best things you can do. And I'll show you guys on a different workout. I'll do a pelvic floor workout next week for you guys, so stay tuned for that. But pelvic tilts, it sounds so simple, but if you're standing with me right now, and I'm just gonna tilt my pelvis, sorry, I wish you guys could see me. I'm gonna tilt my pelvis in, automatically I can feel my Kegels, my glutes tightening up, coming together. So I know I'm activating it. And then relaxing, right? Relaxing is also important. So pelvic floor work, you're going to include bridges, pelvis tilts, your Kegels, and breath work. Whenever you're doing breath work, I want you to think about doing Kegels with that breath work every single time, okay? So how can you remember to do your pelvic squeezes? This one took me a while because, if it's not on my agenda, it's not top of mind. So sometimes I would start doing it after I go to the bathroom. That's the easiest one because you're like, oh, my Kegels, let's stop it midstream, or after. I'll do it when I'm washing my hands. Okay, if I'm drinking, like I said, if you're feeding babies. So those are the best times to do your Kegels, okay? So when should you get help with your pelvic floor muscles, and who should you see? So if you can't feel or tighten your muscles, like I said, if you're trying to do your Kegels right now and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, can't do that, I highly suggest you go seek PT. There is a specialist, and I know this can be scary because it's a really invasive PT. It really is. I mean, they will get in there with their fingers and basically do the pelvic work with you while you're squeezing their fingers. It's invasive, but just find somebody you trust, and it does really work, okay? Another time to get help, if you've done the exercises, you're doing your Kegels, you've done the pelvis tilts, you've done your pelvic work, you're doing your core work as well. Remember, it's a unit, so do not neglect your core. You want to do your core and your pelvic work. If you have done that for 3 months and you really have been consistent and you're still leaking, then it's time to see somebody, okay? Also, if you have pain is not good, and that's not normal, and it can be fixed. So remember, you can have an overactive pelvic floor as well that can cause a little pain, okay? And also you can, just like with any leaking of pee, you can have incontinence with a bowel movement as well, okay? And that can be due to your pelvic floor. The rectum is still connected, okay? So all of those things you want to seek specialized PT for your pelvic floor, okay? I will link all my doctors that I recommend, and here in Oregon, that's where I am, if you guys need any help, all of that stuff. So let me know what questions you guys have about the pelvic floor. Where are you struggling the most with? And what exercise are you currently doing, if not any, okay? So that is just the basics of pelvic floor. We're gonna dive in really deep into a lot more work later on. Don't worry, girl. Don't worry, mama. I got you. So before I go, let me know if you guys have any other questions. I know a lot of you guys are like, yes, I need help with the pelvic floor. I need help with my Kegels. I'll do a Kegel workout for you guys next week, pelvic floor, all that stuff. We'll get really into it. And then lastly, before I go, I wanted to ask you guys a question. Most of you guys know I've been reaching out to a lot of you guys individually. If I haven't gotten back to you, I will. Don't worry. It's just me. I'm messaging you guys. You really are talking to me. So I'm working on a program, most of you guys know, for postpartum. And I want to know, if you were to invest in a postpartum program, what do you want to see? I have seen all sorts of postpartum programs, obviously. I have created lots of programs. I help other coaches create online programs. I know what I believe, but I also want to know, the ladies in the group, what do you guys want to see in a program? Have you bought postpartum programs that you're like, this didn't really help, etc.? So let me know in the comments below. I'm so excited. I'll be telling you guys more about that. And then stay tuned, because tomorrow I have a little surprise for you guys. And I think that's it. I don't think we have any questions today. Like I said, if you're watching the replay, comment your questions below. I'll come back and answer. You guys know I always do that. And yes, I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for watching the live. I will see you guys again very shortly. And just remember, mama, you are beautiful. You are loved. You can fix the Kegels. You can fix the urinary problems, the leakage, all of that. It is possible. Remember to take deep breaths. And yes, Stana, you can talk to me in private for sure. The other thing too, I forgot to touch on this, the surgery. Okay. So a lot of the time, surgery will be discussed with pelvic floor stuff. Now, obviously we want to take the steps first, all of the work, all the hard pelvic work, all the hard Kegel work before we talk about surgery, but it is okay if that needs to happen, and it can really help. I've had clients who have gotten the surgery. It's like a little net they put in to really help the pelvic floor. Like I said, these are my clients who have like religiously done the work for years and still have problems. It's okay. It can be fixed. And it is covered by insurance, all of that stuff. So I want you guys to know you are not alone. There's many options. Just do the hard work to get there. Try your best to recover. Take the time to do your Kegels while you're breastfeeding, all that fun stuff, or feeding the baby, formula feeding too. It's totally fine. you gotta sit there and feed the baby, so do your Kegels, okay? So, love you all so much. You're beautiful, mama. I will see you guys all very soon. Okay, bye.